Paul Bocuse, one of France's most famous chefs, has died. He was 91 and struggled for several years with Parkinson's disease. Bocuse held a Michelin 3-star rating for more than 50 years and was named Chef of the Century. And he was known for the high quality of his restaurants and his innovative approaches to cuisine, particularly healthy eating. In fact, he revolutionised healthy eating. Well, there's been a huge response on social media. It's come from far and wide. French President Emmanuel Macron has tweeted, "Paul Bocuse is no longer here. Chefs are crying in their kitchens at the Élysée and everywhere in France. French gastronomy will continue to make him proud." Chef Jose Andres tweeted, "The angels will have a feast today." Paul Bocuse has joined them. Hashtag rest in peace. Amazing influence in so many chefs and people. The chef Rich Rosendale met the Frenchman several times and won a cooking competition in the USA that he ran. Now, he told me earlier from Washington that Bocuse had a huge influence around the world.
Talking about somebody that's probably one of the most important French people of the last century. Of course, everybody knows him as the chef, but he really kind of like changed the whole perception of chefs, not just in France, but really around the world. I mean, I was a small kid growing up in southwestern Pennsylvania, and without the benefit of the World Wide Web and the social media, I knew who Paul Bocuse was. And it really inspired me as a young culinarian, as a young chef, to want to aspire to go and compete in the Bocuse store. The first time that I had met him was in Orlando in like 2008 during the USA tryouts. And I got to tell you, I was just knowing who he was and knowing of him, I was a little intimidated. But the first thing I noticed about him is he has a very disarming smile, and no matter who you are, whether you're the most well-known celebrity in the world or you're just an apprentice cook just looking to get some guidance, he's very authentic, and he has a smile about him and always willing to spend time with people. So very generous and kind person, I would say, of Chef Bocuse.
Does he strike you as someone that we shouldn't just be celebrating as a chef, but someone who revolutionized healthy eating?
Oh, that is, there's so many things that you could talk about with Paul Bocuse. But one of them is he was really kind of ahead of his time. I mean, you're talking about in the 60s when France was really kind of coming off of the well-known, very rich sauces and the classical cuisine, which is something that I've been trained in over the years. But he was really ahead of his time. I mean, he was talking about cooking lower calorie, smaller portions, more refined dishes, fresh ingredients, and a big focus on the presentations. And it really has had a profound impact on generations. I mean, at that time, around the world, cooks would look to France as kind of the pinnacle, or as almost kind of a guide or a roadmap on how to cook wonderful cuisine. And he was the one that didn't just stand stagnant, but he pushed forward, and at that time was really pushing the boundaries. He was ahead of his time.
Give me your best Bocuse recipe, your best meal that he impressed you with.
The meals were just incredible, and I think, to me, what I really appreciate about it is the craft of classical French cuisine, and how you can go there and almost kind of go back in time, but you still have Paul Bocuse's thumbprint on it. The other thing I wanted to mention, he also really changed the perception for chefs. For years was kind of considered to be the role of like a domestic servant, and he really kind of thrusted or evolved that perception of a chef to be elevated at a very prestige level, which so many of us today have really him to thank for that movement. I mean, he looked at the role of a chef very differently than anyone else ever did.